how to create a risk register. So I'm often asked when it comes to the management of information security about risk management. So we manage our information security based on risk. And one of the questions is, what does a risk register look like and how would I create a risk register? So in a super fast run through, we're going to create a risk register. We're not going to touch too much on the detail or how it works, but we are going to create one. And then at a later date, if anybody's interested, I can tell you how to use that and how to manage that. So when it comes to a risk register, what we're going to need is we're going to need a reference. That's going to be our internal reference number. We're going to need an external reference, which is going to be the external reference number to where the risk came from. That could be an annex within the ISO 27001 or a GDPR clause. We're going to have an asset, the thing that the risk relates to. So that could be a data asset, it could be a human or a building, but the actual asset that the risk applies to. We're going to have an asset owner, so somebody within the organization, somebody within the organization is going to own that asset. If it's a data or customer database, somebody is physically going to be assigned to that. We're going to have the threat that applies to the asset, and then we're going to have the vulnerability that exists currently. So threats and vulnerabilities, and then we're going to have the outcome. So what is the outcome of the risk, were the risk to happen, which could be a financial impact, it could be a data loss, etc. Then we're going to have a record of the CIA. So we're going to say confidentiality, integrity or availability of data. The 27001 auditors like you to mark your risks as one of these three or a combination of all of them. So is it a risk to the confidentiality, a risk to the integrity or a risk to the availability of the data? We're going to have a look and see whether or not we have an existing control in place. So is there something already there? It could be ad hoc, but is there something that already exists within our organization around the management of that risk? And if not, then we put in no within there. The next two columns are going to be the impact and likelihood. Again, I can talk about scoring another time and flesh that out, but what is the impact and what is the likelihood that's going to generate you a score? In fact, we'll call that the risk score. Typically we'd rate these around 1, 3, 9, where 1 is low, 3 medium and 9 clearly is high, and the risk score is just a multiplication of those two columns. So equals J2 times K2. There you go. So if we put an impact of 1 and 1, we're going to get that. If we put 1 and 3, we're going to get that. You can do some fancy formatting and color code that if you like. Once we've got our risk, we know what our risk score is. We are going to assign an owner to the risk. So somebody is going to be responsible for resolving that risk. And then we're going to come up with a risk treatment. The risk treatment is going to be the standard risk treatment methodology. So are you going to accept it? You're going to defer it, whatever it's going to be. Are you going to treat it, reduce the risk? Let's just put that in just for the sake of showing that. So we're going to reduce that. And if we're going to do that, we're going to need a plan. So what is our treatment plan? We're going to allocate a treatment plan to that. It's going to explain in some detail what it is that we're going to do. We could put in there the treatment owner, so who is going to be responsible for sorting out the risk treatment, which may or may not be the risk owner, and we're going to want a treatment date. When is the date by which this is going to be delivered and going to be remediated? So that was your super fast whistle-stop tour of how to create a risk register. We can then tidy that up. We can make that look nice. We can separate out the columns, etc. We can, if we choose to, we'll just reduce that so you can see it in its entirety. We can then go in and set things like the print area, which is always nice, so that when we do the printing file, we do a page setup, We're going to make that fit to one page. We're going to make that landscape, do OK. Make these columns a little bit bigger. Treatment date, treatment owner, treatment plan. And again, just to show you what that would look like, were we to then create that. So that would start to populate and you'd see that within the risk treatment plan. There are some advanced fields that you can put on here. So what we can then look at is things like residual risk. But for now, you are good to go. Thank you.